Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Denny Keltz again with Top Dog Sales Training. In this video, I'm going to give you some key points in your interview process when you're actually talking to your clients in the showroom if you're in car sales. So pay attention to this whole video so you can learn these key points and start making more money and closing more sales. So this first part is form: family, occupation, recreation, and motivation. Okay. So these are all extremely important when you're in the interview process if you have customers in the showroom, right? This is pertaining to car sales. Remember that. So family, when you're starting with family, if you have some people coming in, or let's say somebody comes in by themselves, you want to ask them questions as if they're the only person that's going to be driving, are they the only person that's going to be making the buying decision? You want to weed out these questions and figure out why they're actually in the showroom and whether or not the vehicle is just for them or if it's for their whole family and what's their reason why. Okay. Also, when you're finding out information on whether or not they have a family, they have kids, stuff like that, obviously there's going to be more important features and stuff you need to focus your attention on in regards to what that customer might actually be looking for. Because if a customer comes in and they have a family of 5, they're going to be looking for some more specific, probably safety features, stuff like that, instead of somebody like, that single, young male just comes in looking for a vehicle, maybe for, performance or something like that, right? It totally depends on what they're looking for. And then their occupation is extremely important to ask. So why is the occupation so important to ask? Well, there's a few different reasons. So one of the reasons is you got to know if you're showing them a vehicle that they can even afford, right? And so when you're asking them about their occupation, it's actually going to help you figure out whether or not the vehicle that they're looking at is actually the right vehicle for them, right? Because if they're working at Starbucks and they want to buy, a $65,000 Palisade for whatever reason for their family, chances are it's going to be very difficult for them to actually afford those payments, and they're not even going to be able to get approved for it. So it's going to save you some time on whether or not you're going to be showing them a vehicle that you probably know they can't afford anyways. Another reason is you ask their occupation because maybe you can relate to them a little bit, right? Maybe they're working at the airport and, oh, you know what? I used to work at the airport, right? And you can find some common ground. So that's why that information is important to ask. So recreation as well. So if you're finding out what the customer likes to do outside of work, what kind of hobbies they have, what they're going to be using the vehicle for, right? They might need a tow hitch. They might need a roof rack. They might do a lot of hiking, go up to the mountains, stuff like that. That type of information is important to know because then you're going to find kind of what their hot buttons are, okay? Because then when it comes down to your closing and negotiating, maybe you're going to end up throwing in a tow hitch with a bike carrier, or you're throwing in a roof rack, something like that, right? So you can build a little bit more value by knowing more about your customer. And then this last one is motivation, okay? So what's the motivation as to why your customer's even in the showroom, okay? So there's a lot of different reasons as to why they're going to be in looking for a car. A lot of times customers are not coming in because they want to and they're just excited to buy a new car. It's because they have to. There's something going on, something changed in their life. There's a motivating factor as to why, hey, you know what? We have to go get this other vehicle. We need it, right? So when you find out that motivation, it's also going to help you, again, get to the close when it's time to go through the numbers, negotiating, stuff like that. It's going to help you a lot. Okay, this other part here is love, okay? You got to share the love with your customers. That's very important. You show them some love, show them some appreciation, and guess what? They're going to show you some love back by signing a bill of sale, okay? So the first part of that is learn. So you got to learn more about the customer, okay? Learn why they're even looking into, what they're looking for. You got to observe kind of what's going on with the customer. So you learn about the customer. You observe what their tendencies might be, how they're interacting with you, what's their body language. It's going to give you a good gauge of kind of where they're at in the process of buying a car. Okay, and then you're going to verify. You got to verify all that information that you're gathering from the customer. They're saying certain things that are going to be hot buttons for them. You got to verify them and reaffirm the fact that they're telling you that information. So you're reaffirming the reasons why they're in the showroom, why they're here buying the car that you're going to sell them, okay? And the last one, you just got to engage, okay? You got to engage with the customer, have good eye contact, have good body language. Make sure that they feel like they're dealing with a professional. They're not dealing with an amateur, okay? So all these things are actually going to help you funnel your customer into buying the car, right? So That's why there's this reverse triangle here. So it's your info, okay? So the more information you get at the start, the less you're going to have to do to close that sale at the end, okay? Because what you're going to do here is you're going to be getting out a lot of the objections early so that at the end, when it comes down to the closing, you've already asked all the right questions. You've already got all the correct information from the customer. And now all of a sudden the close takes you 10, 15 minutes instead of negotiating back and forth for 45 minutes to an hour, right? Just because you did all the legwork early, and that's why there's this reverse triangle, okay? So focus on these things. Learn how you can improve your interview process, and I can guarantee you're going to sell more cars, you're going to make more money, okay? Hit the subscribe button and follow for more.